Alrighty, Salt Lake City. So, all my wind maps say the wind should be coming from that direction. It's not doing that. I think I'm gonna go ahead and test it out. Testing.
Alright guys, so I had just completed some incredible flying in Wyoming, and now life brought me right here to this little spot known as Stansbury Island. Anyway, I wasted no time jumping in the sky and exploring the jaw-dropping terrain that laid before me. I had this spot pinned for a while, and I was pretty excited to fly here while waiting on my friend Hillary to get things packed so we could head to the Bonneville salt flats later that night. I quickly spotted a rambunctious man doing donuts in a sweet Honda Odyssey, and I figured I'd join in on the fun. He absolutely passed the vibe check, and although it's not the kind of van lifing I'm used to being around, the minivan platform definitely gained a little more respect in my book after shredding up this dry portion of the lake. Eventually, I bid the van man farewell and continued up the shoreline to find some interesting things, to say the least. Seeing the artwork from the sky was really cool, especially the shark that I foot drug right through. Once I buzzed past a group of overly confident dudes, it was time to turn around and fly back up the salty shore. There's something so fascinating with this area. The crusty salt crystals made me wonder what this place would look like on a wet year when this is all underwater. I guess I'll just have to come back and find out. I had a ball flipping around in the sky, and then I decided to just mellow things out and take in an amazing panoramic view right at golden hour. It doesn't get much better than the mirror-like effect you get on a calm night at the Great Salt Lake. It was just calm enough to get up close and personal with the mountains on Stansbury Island, and carving down the sides of them was an absolute dream. I came into land and was greeted by some lively people and their dogs. We chatted, and I got to watch the day turn into night from the ground for a change. I checked in with Hillary, who was ready to head to the salt flats, so I started to pack things up myself, after getting some cool drone shots. As I wrapped up another ridiculously fun flight, I punched Bonneville into my GPS, and about the time I arrived, the sky did its thing once again. As luck would have it, the Aurora Borealis made another appearance, this time 1,000 times more vibrant than the night before. The lights didn't last long, and by the time I got my motor staged for a photo, it died out quite a bit, but the rest of the night was still pretty special. Hillary and I set up chairs out on the salt flats and swapped flying stories under a pretty unforgettable night sky. The following morning was prime for flying, and I was just excited to have somebody to fly with. Most pilots rarely fly alone, but I live so remote that I don't have that luxury. I only get to fly with friends a few times a year, which makes moments like this 1,000 times more meaningful. The last time I'd flown with Hillary was in Iceland above the mountains of Landmannalaugar, and this terrain couldn't be more opposite. You see, I've been finding beauty in vast, wide open spaces my entire flying career. I'm not sure what it is about an endless flat area that is so mesmerizing, but whatever it is, the salt flats have plenty of that magic stuff sprinkled on top. As I foot drug further into the flats, I quickly spotted another glider in the sky. Out of curiosity, I ventured closer to say hello. I'd later find out that this was a solo traveler from Russia named Vlad. It was pretty cool running into another pilot randomly, and judging by the beginner wing, I knew not to get too close. Instead, I decided to take my excitement out on my good pal Hillary, who I got as close as humanly possible to after landing on her wing. This isn't a stunt I would normally encourage, but it surely looked majestic seeing a pile of pipers floating across the salt flats. While dialing in my proximity flying, I quickly realized only bringing 3 pairs of shoes was not going to cut it for all the foot dragging I was doing out here. But the urge to skim the salty surface was just too good, and sometimes that's exactly what you need to recharge the soul.
Wash over me in the daylight, the world turns underneath.
A large flat area might seem like a boring place to fly to some, but wingtip bumping a good friend over 30,000 acres of geometric patterns in the salt was exactly the one place I did want to be that morning. There were so many surreal textures and hexagonal patterns that it's nearly impossible to wrap your head around it all. But the best pattern is probably the one where Hillary and I have only flown the most crazy terrains, like this one. None of those basic normal Kansas pastures for us. Nope. It's a pretty solid tradition that we've got going on, and I'm sure it's only a matter of time before Hillary talks me into another exotic flying spot. After a few more miles of endlessly foot dragging and a few wingovers, we headed back to camp. The surrounding mountains here are striking against the white vastness of salt, and I really wanted to get up close to them. As I approached, I started catching some mild turbulence, which was my cue to call it a morning. Several more attempts were made to destroy my shoes, and shortly after, I swooped in to meet another curious couple about our age that just wanted to see what the paramotors were all about.
Hello, I'm good.
That looked good.
It felt good.
You actually stand on my wing.
Oh yeah, for like a while.
Fellow paramotor pilot Vlad gave us a quick flyby and eventually came over to say hello. My hey dudes were successfully foot drugged beyond recognition, and then Hillary hopped in with me to encourage more bad decisions. But as the old saying goes, when you're at Bonneville, do as the Bonnevillians do. It's safe to say we had plenty of donuts for breakfast just before trying to set our own land speed record, and before we knew it, it was time to split up and go our separate ways for the day. I still had the surrounding mountains on my mind, and with time to kill, I found the perfect peak to climb up where I could reflect on the last 2 nights filled with flying, friends, and the northern lights. I spent quite a while up here, feeling pretty grateful. I'd only left Kansas a short 48 hours prior, and the bar was already set impossibly high. After studying wind maps, I knew Salt Lake was the place to be for the next few days. So I climbed off my mountain, and I sped off into the salt flats one last time. Thanks for watching.